Happy Thursday, scientists. Today you're going to need your box of crayons, your pencil, glue stick, science notebook, and yellow resource folder. When you open up your yellow resource folder, remember, do not take it out of your anchor binder, but leave it inside so it will stay in an organized way. Take off the paper clip. You are going to take off the teach page. That starts with the words like plants, animals have, and then you see a box that has the title, Complete Metamorphosis and Incomplete Metamorphosis. Then use your paper clip to clip the last teach page that you have in your resource folder back inside for next week. Then you can close it and make sure it stays in that anchor binder and put it in your basket. Then go ahead to your science notebook. We're going to open up to our last page that we have completed, which was put on pages 13 and 14 on plant reproduction. And we were able to use our closed notes and we created a mind map. A mind map was a way to organize in a creative way the information and the words, vocabulary that we use within our actual activity. So we're going to turn the page and we're going to be labeling it page 15 and page 16. Let's go ahead to the table of contents. Remember to go ahead and push pause at any point so you can get your notebook organized and set up, and then push play when you're ready to continue to move on. So we are going to be writing in pages 15 and page 16. Last time we didn't write the second date, so go ahead and rewrite just to make sure. Page 15 is going to be our closed notes, and it's spelled C-L-O-Z for close with an E on the end, notes. And this is about animal's life cycle. And then on page 16, we're going to create a animal life cycle. And then you're going to put today's date, which is 9-17-20, and the same thing for the second page as well. Then when you're done, turn your page. You're going to take the page that we took out of the yellow folder, and we're going to glue that on the left-hand side. Make sure that you're following the directions on which side to glue these items. Turn that page over. Make your frame on the outside, crisscross through the middle, and then smooth it down. And then we're going to just give our title again. So these are our closed notes. Animal life cycle. So on Tuesday, you were asked to read the lesson, which are the pages from your science book, about our animals and their reproduction. So we're going to use that information to be able to fill in the missing words within our notes section. So as we're reading, make sure you're paying close attention to writing the correct words, but also correct spelling. So we're going to start at the top, and it says, like plants, animals have, and there's two words that need to fit in here. So make sure that you write nice and tiny, or you can stack them. Life cycles. And then there's a period. Animals are, the word is born, and then begin to grow up. When animals become adults, they may have young of their own, and in this way, life continues to renew itself. So when it goes into the cycle of starting off when you're young, and then you age to adolescence and into adulthood, and then in adulthood when you have your own young or your own baby, the cycle begins again. So it's a continuous cycle, meaning that it goes around and around. So we're going to just draw arrows in a circle to indicate the process of the cycle that is repeating itself over and over again. The next portion says animals reproduce in several ways. Some animals mate and give birth to live young, while others hatch out of eggs. Some animals raise their young, while others leave their babies on their own. Turtles are on their own as soon as they hatch from eggs, while penguins give their young a great deal of care. Deer, bears, and rabbits take care of their young by feeding them milk. The next section, remember we're going to be reading and then filling in where there's some blanks now. When animals go through, the first word at the top line is the word changes. During their life cycle, it is called metamorphosis. So we're going to underline this word because we're going to be using this information in a moment. So metamorphosis. The next part says incomplete. And then we're going to rewrite the word that we underlined right underneath as well. So it's metamorphosis. The young look very different from the adults. An animal goes through, and then we're going to write the number 4. So there's 4 stages of its life cycle. The egg hatches into what we call larva. So we're going to fill in the blank larva. Make sure the period's still there. The larvae look like worms turned into pupa. And the pupa is enclosed in a cocoon. While in the cocoon, the pupa turns into an adult. And the word that's missing, we're just going to fix it, is butterfly / or moth, depending on what it is. The last section of our closed notes at the bottom says in, and then we're going to fill in 2 words. The first one is in an incomplete. So incomplete. Metamorphosis. An animal goes through, and then this time we're going to put 3, so it's not going through a complete. A complete means 4, so an incomplete metamorphosis, and this is 3 stages of the life cycle. It hatches from an egg as a nymph, so write the word nymph, which is a tiny adult without wings. And then as it grows larger, and it molts, and after several moltings, it forms wings and reaches the adult stage. The next 2 words of the next sentence are dragonflies is the first one, and termites go through incomplete metamorphosis. So when we look back, we're being told 2 separate important pieces. A complete metamorphosis means they're going through 4 stages: the egg, the larvae, the pupa, and the adult. And incomplete means it's not going through all 4, it's only going through 3: the egg, the nymph, and the adult. So complete has 4, incomplete has 3. So you can even write that out to the side. 4, and then the word 3, or the number 3. So now we're going to take our information that we have learned about the different life cycles, and we're going to draw ourselves some charts. So in the first chart we're going to record is a complete metamorphosis. And this is where we're going to use our crayons and add some color. Remember that in notebooks we don't use markers because they'll bleed through and make it challenging to see on the reverse side. We do use highlighters, but the highlighters are very special for when we use them, so we don't just use them to color with. And then about halfway down we're going to write incomplete metamorphosis. So we're going to be showing 2 different types of cycles. And then we'll underline. So now I'm going to use my pen, but you're going to use your pencil to sketch out the kind of like the format or the way that it's supposed to look originally. That way if you make a mistake you can erase and then go back and add some color later. So we're going to look at the 4 steps, so we can even write that in parentheses to say that's going to be 4 steps and the incomplete's going to be 3. So we're taking what we have on the learned side or the structured side and making it into a creative way. So we can have our arrows. I'm going to kind of show my connecting arrows first. Let's see. I'm going to make the first, and that's going to be like my eggs. And I'm going to even write the word eggs. Then as it moves through, we can use this as our guide. Then it goes into the larvae. So I'm going to write larvae. And you can draw pictures that are similar to what it has. So that looks kind of like a shrimp to Mrs. Ling, almost. So it doesn't look like it's an adult yet, but you can draw something similar, like its little legs, or what looks like it will become the legs or body. After you've drawn your picture, whatever it's going to look like, then you're going to draw the next portion, which then turns into the pupa. So we're going to write pupa. And that's almost like it's a chrysalis. So it's starting to make that change. So you can draw some detail. I'm going to just put like a twig that if it's a butterfly, then it's maybe attaching itself. And then from the pupa, we're going to draw our last arrow to then show the adulthood. For this particular one, I'm going to maybe make it more like a beetle, because we have that picture right there. So you can draw the beetle or you can show it in a butterfly form. The only difference between this process, we might show that the larva, it looks a little bit different. Maybe it looks like a caterpillar before it turns into the chrysalis to then turn into the adult butterfly. So if you wanted to go back and add what looks like maybe a caterpillar instead, and then you can then draw the butterfly this way. That's up to you and your creativity of whatever you wanted to draw. Completely up to you. So then we can put this as adult. So you're making your life cycle of a butterfly or the life cycle of what we look like a beetle, but the most important is to have an illustration. You can add color, then you have to have your label of eggs, larva, pupa, and adult. When you move on to the incomplete metamorphosis, you can use this as your guide again. It goes through the egg, nymphs, and adult. So we're going to only make 3 steps. So we might start with the egg. And I'm going to write eggs. And then we know that this is going through 3 steps. So then maybe the nymph, I'm going to draw just what the little beetle kind of looks like, or whatever that bug is right there. And then this one, we're going to write the word nymphs. And the last one's going to be the larger, which is the adult. And you can write the word adult. So once you have sketched out your 2 different types of life cycles, the complete metamorphosis and the incomplete metamorphosis, double check that you have an illustration for each of them and that you have your label with word. Add color and then submit a picture of your completed closed notes and your drawing today.